Marcus' Amazing Costume by Linda Irwin. Marcus was excited for the night. The sun was setting, and he looked at himself long and hard in the mirror. He could not wait to join his friends going door to door and retrieving tasty treats to bring home. Marcus frowned. Why didn't his mother like his costume? It was certainly unique. The tradition in their village had been to wear costumes that denoted what they wished to be when they grow up. He decided he would be a trendsetter. There had never been a costume such as this, and he thanked his uncle for giving him this idea, though his mother thought it was grotesque and too frightening for a young boy to wear out in public. The literature, the legends, it was all too scary. He remembered what his mother had said when the moon was completely up from the horizon, angled in the sky. It was time to give up his adventure and return home. Marcus stepped outside, his bag in hand, looking down the street. Others his age were already out in their costumes, making their way from home to home. He steeled his nerves, expecting that everyone would be in awe, and that he would have to fend off their praise and with somewhat false modesty. First one tenuous step, and then another. Then he was off to the home next door. There were two school friends already making their way to that door. An older female, one that his father had cautioned to pay attention to because they were elders in the tribe, was bending down and admiring the costume of a boy dressed as a pilot and a girl dressed as a doctor. They smiled and thanked the elder female. The boy hurried past him on his left and the girl on his right. He proudly made his way to where the elder one was standing with the crockery bowl full of treats. He had rehearsed this and knew he could say it without falsetto, without his voice squeaking out in shyness. "Trick or treat!" As soon as the words were out of his mouth, he detected a look of not what he expected. Perhaps it was too original, too exciting, too accurate. Her eyes widened only slightly, her mouth remained thin and tight. She scrutinized him, and then her eyes narrowed slightly. Was her response. Her long fingers with the very long nails of her right hand sifted through the packets of treats in the brown crockery bowl. She did not even look down at what her hand was doing. Her eyes remained locked in almost hypnotized gaze to the eyes of Marcus. She then selected a handful and reached out, dropping them in his open bag, which was quivering between his two shaking hands. He broke the visual connection and looked down. "Thank you," he murmured. She said nothing and returned inside. "Old people," Marcus sighed and turned, heading down the path to join the street. He turned to head to the house next door to her when he caught sight of a child he recognized. He picked up his pace and hurried forward. "Chaz!" he cried. Chaz turned and at first did not recognize him. Well, that was the idea, wasn't it? Costumes. "Marcus?" Chaz asked. Marcus caught up to him nearly breathless. "Wow, you look cool." Chaz finished. "Scary, creepy." Chaz had selected scientist to be his costume. He even wore the long coat of one with various items protruding from his pockets. "You know," Chaz reminded him, moving his hand up and down to indicate his manner of dress, "that there is no such thing. It's just stuff grown-ups tell kids to scare them so they don't sneak out at night and get took away." The two started down the path to the next home. "But they're real," Marcus insisted. "My uncle works for the ministry and he's seen one. Who do you think helped me make my costume?" The boys had the subject covered in their classes, one that covered literature, astronomy and biology. Chaz shook his head. I don't know. Kind of strange. I'm not sure I believe. I do, Marcus said proudly. And I think one day, maybe in our lifetime, we'll get to meet them. I bet they come to our planet and come right down and say hello. My uncle's even got a picture of one of their ships. The boys had arrived at the door of the next home. It was answered by a teenage male who was too distracted communicating his plans for a party to pay much attention. He absent-mindedly tossed the treats into their bags and turned away. The boys walked back out to the road. This was a very small village, and there were only a few homes in this neighborhood. The boys would hurry and get to the few remaining homes before the moon rose up high in the sky, as it was time to be home then. They filled up their bags, going door to door. Mixed reactions about Marcus' costume and not one word of praise the whole time for his ingenuity. At last it was time to return to their homes. Chaz and Marcus stood on the path that would take Marcus right to his home. The pilot and the doctor and all of the children were busy scurrying to their own homes. Curfew was coming soon, but there was so much more Chaz and Marcus needed to share, so much they had to say to each to prove their points about the costume Marcus was wearing. Chaz went first, relenting slightly. If it's true that they're real, he said, his voice lowering to a whisper, they're dangerous. Didn't your uncle say that they kidnap people like us, lock them away, and do weird experiments on them? Marcus was scratching the top of his head and finally tore off his wig. I don't think they're all like that. I think there's some good ones. I don't think we should all just hate them because we don't know them. I think we need to give them a chance. Be nice to them, and maybe we'll see that they're not so different from us after all. Chaz was staring at the top of Marcus' head and then looked down at the wig. That probably didn't feel so comfortable. No, Marcus replied. I don't know how they get used to the hair, but one day I'd like to meet one of these humans from planet Earth. I know they're real. The first moon had set. The second moon rose up high above the horizon. Chaz and Marcus bid each other goodbye, their large almond-shaped black eyes reflecting the gentle light of the moon. Their packets of delicious flavored sweet liquid would be savored over the coming days. Marcus had enjoyed the mysterious adventure called Hello, One, an ancient tradition that had supposedly come from somewhere beyond their planet a long time ago, translated from something beamed into space called a broadcast. The end.